All right, so a few days ago I posted a video demonstrating how I was going to do a germination and vigor test on some spelt seed that I've been unhappy with. And today I'm going to talk about the results of that and a few other things related to it that sort of came up during the process. So first of all, I don't know how well you'll be able to see things here, but I'm going to uncover things and just allow you to take a look. So as I uncover this, you can see there's growth here, and what you may be able to tell is these are all fairly uniform in how they're growing. They have very similar germination rates, they have very similar vigor, and these were all soaked for different times. Just want to double check my numbers here. So this is 7 hours, 5 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, and about 20 minutes. So I can see from looking at these that my soak time does very little, creates very little difference in growth. What I'm also seeing is none of these actually germinated very well. So in the video you can see some growth here, but up close I can see that a lot of these seeds actually didn't germinate. So maybe if I do it like this, it's better to see. These are all seeds in here that haven't germinated, so there's stuff that's growing and there's a lot that hasn't. And in my mind, this isn't enough. When I've been growing these trays, I can just see very simply that they're not full trays, and I've grown thousands of trays of wheatgrass, so I have fairly reasonable expectations for what a tray should look like. So the question is, what is my process now? Do I need to continue to experiment with this seed to check that I need to soak it in a different way? Do I need to go back to the seed company and say, what the fuck? What do I need to do? And so I'm going to look at things in a couple of steps here. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to call the seed company. I'm going to say, I bought this spelt seed. I haven't grown spelt before, but I've grown lots of wheatgrass. I'm following very similar methods, tweaking things a bit and making notes, not seeing very good results. I'm getting pretty low germination. What can you tell me about what you know about this seed? So that's going to be the number one question. Within that, I'll also say, what methods do you use for germination? What is your soak time? Anything about the water, water temperature, anything like that? So these are things that I'm going to look at asking them. I'm going to have a dialogue with them. So they might say, actually, we're getting really good feedback from customers on the seed, something else. Or they might be saying, actually, we've gotten a lot of feedback that people aren't happy with the seed. So there's a bunch of ways it can go. If it goes in any direction that there's a question about the quality of the seed, I will ask for a refund and ask them to send me some new seed. But as part of that process, I'm kind of just checking, I'm just going through this process of just checking other things to make sure I'm paying attention properly. And I can clearly see there's seeds here that aren't germinating. That's very consistent amongst all the soak times. And so what I've done as an added step to this is I have some wheatgrass seed, and I soaked it and germinated it, and I want to get a look at how this wheatgrass seed soaks based on or germinates based on the methods I've used before and had used here. So what I did is I just soaked the same amount. I just soaked 1 tablespoon of wheatgrass for 20 minutes. And once again, in my mind, all these wheat seeds should be soaked for 20 minutes in warm or lukewarm water and be ready to go. That's my experience. And so that's what I'm going to start with, is what I think should happen. So we'll uncover this to take a look. So you won't be able to see too great here. It's a few days younger than this for sure. So this is starting to germinate. And the first thing I notice is just about everything seems to be germinating. I seem to be getting a much better germination rate here. This is the sort of germination rate I would have been expecting from the spelt seed. So what I've done before going to the seed company, and I'll give this another couple days actually, once again, before going to the seed company, I want to do another test. I'm going to compare this to some other wheat seeds. And I'm just checking. I'm asking myself, maybe I remember wrong. Maybe there's something I'm forgetting. It's just an extra step. And it's also a little bit of ammunition, so when I call the seed company, I can say, well, just to double check that I'm, even though I've done this thousands of times, I double checked I have some wheat berries. And if you remember, I've talked about these before, these aren't wheat berries that I got from a seed company. These are wheat berries I just bought in the bulk bin at the grocery store. And I wouldn't usually do that for seed, but I wanted to try it out. And so that seed is often handled in a different way and often doesn't germinate as well. So the fact that I'm using what is essentially not seed grade grains for this test, and I'm getting better results with this wheatgrass than I am with the spelt grass, once again points to an issue with the spelt grass. There's definitely germination is happening in these other seeds, it's just not actually getting into a growth stage. So my next step is to basically let this go for another day or two, take note of that, and then I will call the seed company and say, here's my experience with the seed. Do you have any more information? And in the end, probably what I'll say is, well, it sounds like there's a problem with the seed. I would appreciate a refund. Or what I'll do is ask them to send me out something else. So for this, I bought a 10 kilogram bag of spelt seed. What I'll do is ask them to send me some spring wheat seed, which is the seed I originally wanted, but they didn't have. And so there's just this whole experience now I'm having about spelt, which means if anybody ever says to me in the future, hey, have you ever grown spelt, what do you think? My answer is going to be, well, not good. So that said, I don't want my whole spelt experience to be based on this seed. So what I will do as well, if they do send me some other seed, is I'll say, well, if you have a different lot of spelt seed, could you send me a 1 kilogram sample or even a half a kilogram sample? That way I can trial it again. And what I'm doing there is giving the seed company an opportunity to kind of convince me that the spelt seed they carry is good, that spelt seed is still worth growing, and it's for myself, it's going to unspoil spelt for me. And so hopefully I'll still get a chance to grow it out and get a nice lush tray. And again, the reason I'm adamant about this is the yield I'm going to get from this kind of germination isn't enough to give a good enough return. Not just looking at it from a commercial perspective, but from a home production perspective as well. If I'm growing a good tray of wheatgrass, I need to get more than 2 ounces of juice out of it. I need 4 to 6 or more ounces. And so it's actually not worth putting the time into growing something like this because it just can't produce enough product. So from a commercial perspective, that would just be you're not going to get enough return for that type of germination rate. And it's why your germination rate is so important. So I will do a follow-up on this. I'm going to take a very diplomatic approach with the seed company and how I talk about the seed company in these videos, because it is in no way my intention to sort of badmouth anybody. I've had tons of bad seed over time. Once again, they may say, oh no, this seed needs an 18-hour soak for sure. Then I will try that. So I will try everything I can, within reason, to make this seed work. And if not, I will look for a replacement. So that'll be Spelt Germination Tests Video 3. I'll keep you posted on that. And and then how the wheatgrass goes as well. And hopefully have some more videos coming up soon. Just getting over the holidays and some sickness. I will point out, just while we're here, I do have my first tray of sunflower going for the season here. I'm going to stick with the 30-pound weight method, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that. And I just want to kind of go more and more into the importance of weight on trays, because I see time and time again, people just aren't doing it. And it should, at this point, be as common as putting seeds on top of soil in terms of microgreens production. So it's a really key factor in good uniform growth, and it's a really key factor in good germination. So we'll talk about that in the future as well. Okay.